Done.
All right, cool. So I will go ahead and get started. I assume my microphone is working well, but if at any point anyone can't hear any of the speakers, just butt in, let us know. All right, so without further ado, hello everyone. Thank you for coming to this event on mentorship, community building, and future planning. I hope everyone's having a nice day wherever you're at. My name is Conley Austin, and I will be your host today. Just a little bit of background about myself really quick before we start. I'm a recent master's graduate of International Relations and Organization from the University of Groningen. I've worked in the international talent attraction sector in the Northern Netherlands for the past year. And currently I run a freelancing company focused on technical editing and website development. Also, I collaborate with Ben at Bennu Community for events like this. I'm excited to co-host this event alongside him. He is also one of our speakers tonight. I will introduce him and our other two speakers in just a moment. I want to thank him for organizing this session and for giving me the opportunity to host it. As you all know, this event is about mentorship, networking, future thinking, community building, and the importance of these things overall for career growth. I want to also mention alongside that, this event is being done in collaboration with ADPList Amsterdam Chapter, which is a local community of the global mentorship platform, ADPList, as well as EleWave, which is a people-versed design studio. And this event is also part of a broader initiative supporting well-being and career development for international students and professionals with the support of Hanze University. So just wanted to give a big thanks to ADPList Amsterdam, EleWave, and Hanze University before we get started. Just want to let everyone know that you can feel free to ask questions in the chat, as well as raise your hand if you want to ask them live, whatever works for you. Ben or I will see them and respond to them. So with all of that said, let's meet our speakers for today. So first, I would like to introduce Derya, who is a UX designer at ING and who also mentors people through ADPList. And Derya, I would like to give the floor to you for a couple moments. Let yourself share something about yourself.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was, I hope my voice is better right now.
Sounds pretty good.
Okay, good. So yeah, I am based in Amsterdam, user experience design, as you mentioned, currently at ING, wholesale banking, to say a little bit more in the details. And I'm mentoring with ADPList 3 years already. And also I am part of ADPList and Amsterdam Ambassador Program. I am a creative lead there, and we are organizing pretty interesting events and helping people to connect and find their way on through their career, not feel by themselves, but being together, we can achieve more things. So I'm excited for today. We will talk about interesting stuff, I think. Yeah, would be also nice to hear from the audience if they want to share anything. Let's make it interactive, I'd say. Thank you.
Very nice. Thank you, Derya. Next, I would like to introduce Balasubramanyn, a senior content designer at IKEA with a passion for storytelling, and who also mentors through ADPList. So take the floor, please.
Hey everybody, Conley, first of all, props for getting my name right. That is super impressive. But yeah, everybody, you can call me Bala. That's plenty. Yeah, I'm currently a senior designer at IKEA. I have been in Europe for about 6 years, and I started my career back in India, which is where I'm from. So I'm also very excited. I mean, I think I want to cover a lot about ADPList, which already my dear friend Derya did, so I'm not going to bore you with all that. But yeah, I'm also the chapter lead for the ADPList Amsterdam Chapter. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Hopefully, like Derya said, let's make it interactive. Please feel free to shoot your questions in the chat. Let's keep the dialogue two-way.
Yes, definitely. It would be nice to have some two-way dialogue here for sure. Thank you for that, Bala. And finally, My final speaker here, also my co-host Ben, founder of Bennu Community, is always thinking about the future of work. Ben, would you care to give a brief introduction about yourself?
Hi, everyone. I'm happy to be here side by side with Derya and also Bala. I think a few months ago we met each other, and at that time I had no idea what's the next, but now we are here, and maybe we have some more planned for the future. I'm Ben. Yeah, almost 20 months ago I moved to the Netherlands and started to build everything from the scratch, because at that time I had no idea what I wanted to do. And the thing is, I had even one person at that time in my network and in my community here in the Netherlands. But now, as you mentioned, Conley, we are working on developing Bennu Community, focusing on futures literacy, intercultural competency, and also transferable skills. And recently, Majid is here. Majid and I joined to each other and also started another initiative, which is EleWave, focusing on e-learning and also micro-learning in business setting. And this event is one of the events related to the project with Hanze University for helping international students mostly and well-being by using futures literacy for navigating their career path. This is maybe something helpful for you. And let's dive into the discussion to see what's happening next.
Yeah, very nice. We will also get to a lot of a little bit of futures literacy stuff today in our discussions. So I hope that will be informative as well. Thank you, Ben. Without further ado, I'd say we start the conversation. Also, Ben, I would like to ask if you could help me keep a little eye on the time. I'm going to as well, but I don't want to run over and take too long with this. To kick things off in this discussion, I want to start by going back to the beginning, career-wise for people. Everyone's career obviously starts somewhere, and often it starts because of the people around us. These people help shape our career path, formally, informally, however that might look individually. So I would love to start by asking our panel, anyone who'd like to answer, about early experiences with mentorship, which is the first of our key topics today. So can anyone share a time in your career where you've benefited from mentorship, whether it was called mentorship or not, and how this has impacted your career today?
Yes, I want to mention about an amazing mentor that I had. Actually, I didn't know that he would become a mentor for me. So I'm from Turkey originally, and in Turkey we have university exams. And right after receiving my university exam results, I was quite puzzled with what I am going to do, what is next for me. There were too many options, but what do I feel? And yeah, you feel like you need to get understanding a bit more. And it's the exam itself is almost like a national game. Everyone takes this huge exam, and it's like Hunger Game with multiple choice. And then you get the score, you are given a rank, and then you submit submit your choices as a list. And when I was discussing with my other friends at that time, I was in the high school, obviously. One of my friends casually mentioned that, for the university that I had in mind, I can call them and talk to them. It is a pretty interesting approach considering Turkey conditions, but I had the chance to call this university that I graduated, and I happened to end the call with the dean of the engineering, which is not very common, right? So you don't usually call a university and end up talking to someone in the high level. But back then, that was the case, and I was so lucky, definitely. And the first conversation with him was already in the shape of mentorship. As I said, I didn't know he would be for me. What struck me right away he was attentively listened. He explained everything very clearly and in a very such warm and welcoming tone. After the call, everything was super clear for me. Okay, I was going to go to this university, and actually I could tell that my mentorship journey ever started from that point on. And later on, after starting at university, he and his team created so many opportunities for students, me, my peers, and it helped us not to understand the school and the program better, but to feel more connected to the city, which is Istanbul. And even that helped us to connect to ourselves. That experience taught me about what mentorship could look like and how to be a good mentee, and eventually how to be a mentor myself. So I really appreciate his approach, his communication style, and his mentorship, obviously.
Yeah, that's really interesting, Derya. On top of that, do you think that this professor helped you form your career into what it is today? Like, if you hadn't had this experience, would you have taken the same path? Would you have been as successful, so to speak, as you are today?
I would be successful in any way, but
Yeah.
maybe not in this way. So that university was like really the basic, the foundation for me to explore beyond what I can imagine. It is because that university program is computer education and instructional technologies, which was not so known in the country, and even today is not really well known. What was in my mind was, oh, I want to be an engineer, because everyone was being one. I was studying science. I am good at math and physics and stuff, so I should be an engineer. And with this conversation also, he is telling me the options actually when you enter the university, you can find your way. And if you don't feel like being an engineer, you can go another direction, another program, which actually that was my program. I graduated from the other program, computer education and instructional technologies, not engineering. And that was more multidisciplinary, and that was more into my authentic self. I could explore more about myself. Definitely, if we hadn't had that call at that time, I would be graduating from another university. I don't know what I was doing, probably still design. But I feel really lucky to have that clear and calm and welcoming message when you are in a panic mode, you don't know what to do. So definitely I would be successful, but in maybe other terms and other fields.
That's good. So he helped you narrow down what you wanted to do pretty well.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good to hear. I think that's useful for people to hear about, especially early in their careers, that this type of situation can happen in university, and to stay open to things like this. So we can move on from this question, but on the same subject of mentorship, something that I was discussing with the speakers before this event was in the early career phase. For anyone who's never had a mentor or have never been a mentor, either or both, it's obviously very intimidating to know how to start. What advice would anyone from the panel who would like to answer have for someone who wants to get started with mentorship, either as a mentor or as a mentee, looking for advice to how to grow their careers? What advice would you have for people looking for these things?
I think mentorship is a culture. You know, it has to come. It has to kind of be a part of you and kind of grow with you. Because I don't know how it is in other countries, but in India, it's really not a thing. You don't have long-term mentors or mentees. You probably may go ask somebody for a random question, they'll answer, and then that's it. Or you probably ask your cousins, one of the million cousins you have, for advice. Should I take should I choose this uni or that uni? That's the level, right? But I think it's definitely a cultural shift for a lot of us. And one thing that we should probably be mindful is that, yes, it is a very vulnerable place to be, both for a mentor and a mentee. You're definitely putting yourself out there and outside your comfort zone. And that's probably part of it. That's probably how or where, that's probably a good place to start, is to be willing to make that step outside of your comfort zone and to go ask for help. Because for a lot of us, asking for help is the hardest thing to do. And the same with offering to help, because you may sit here thinking, oh, am I good enough to help this person? But you will never know unless you try, right? And I personally very strongly believe that everybody has something to contribute to the people around them. So you don't have to be somebody who's, for example, been a designer for 20 years to start mentoring people in design. Or if you're just because you've been in the field for 20 years doesn't mean you don't need mentorship either. So it works both ways. So it's about having the cultural mindset to seek out mentorship, and also the constant willingness to learn and grow. So I think these are the two things that I would say that we need to have in terms of a mindset to get started on that path towards mentorship. Derya, anything to add?
Yeah, I totally agree. Indeed, it's part of the culture, and it might be difficult in the beginning, but try. Actually, also maybe don't overthink. I mean, everyone will have something to share, and maybe the other person who is receiving it, or and the vice versa, that is actually transaction. There's a communication happening, and you can decide after that communication if it was helpful or not. And here, I think what is more important, you need to be very curious and open. And if you keep these two values in place, then there's no worry. You can try and see how it works. And if this doesn't work for one person, probably there's another person can help. And it's about, like, all life is about that. You have friends, and some people are more helping you through your life, whereas the others are more like, hey, let's hang out and that's it. So and I encourage everyone to think also, like, what type of mentorship they could give, and maybe again think about the friendship, even like the basic, the human, what we can give each other, what we can share together.
So yeah, very important to be open, very important to be accepting of help, which obviously is something that is hard for everyone to do. That is very insightful. So one final question just on top of that, in the area of mentorship. What you two seem to have a lot of experience with mentors, mentoring and being mentees. What makes a good mentor? Does it have to be formal every single time? You know, is it rigid, or yeah, just let me know.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, it's about, again, it's like the communication. It's the way how you want to communicate, and you can be super clear how you want to do it from the beginning. And instead of shaping, hey, I am a mentor like this, and please obey my structure, it's not going to work, obviously. So how I approached it is, yeah, of course, I have some sort of foundational values that I will bring to any conversation, including the mentorship. And I will listen to it, then what they are looking for, if I can help, and in what way. And it is really open, it's clear. I try to keep every question cleared at the end of the session. Even there will be cases that I don't have the answer, but then I can work on that, right? So it is also a two-way. As a mentor, you learn a lot from the conversations and challenges. Sometimes you feel like, oh, okay, I did this, it happened to me exactly, but now you get on top of that a little bit different spice. Then you think from different angle together with this person. And yeah, I don't think mentorship is the ownership. It's just a partnership, helping, and finding the way together. And maybe that makes it a little bit different than really like coaching and leading. Yeah.
I agree. I don't think there's a one-size-fits-all approach to mentorship. It's definitely unique to the person you're talking to and also to yourself. Like if the same person went to somebody else with the same question, they may get mentored differently. So, it purely depends on the connection that you have with that person and what the two of you bring together to that conversation. So it's definitely not a one-size-fits-all. And that's okay.
Ben, yes.
Okay, good. It's too difficult to say nothing because the point is, yeah, in the beginning, the plan was I'm facilitating the conversation, but finally we decided to just ask Conley to take my role. And maybe now I can ask something from Conley because in the beginning, even we had another plan, but then he joined us as host. My question is from Conley now. When I ask you to take my role and manage the things by yourself, how was your experience? Because it seems in that moment you didn't expect to do something like that. Am I right?
Yeah, more or less, yeah.
Yeah, just I wanted to mention, maybe now Conley can say something more. I think when we are talking about mentorship, most of the time we are thinking about the situation people in a one way or two way, I mean, talking to each other or talking with each other. But sometimes I believe big believer in kind of learning by doing. I mean, what's happening now here for me, personally, is kind of mentorship because when we decided to organize these events and Conley join us as a community builder, I was thinking, okay, maybe we need more time and maybe I can share something with him, something like that. But finally, I thought, okay, maybe it's time to push him in the water to start. So however, he already did lots of things in terms of this kind of stuff. But this is the first time after just few weeks, I just asked him to do something. And that was because I promised that you have lots of chance at Bennu Community to learn, to expand your network, to experience something totally different. And maybe now Conley can say, how was your experience? Because instead of talking about something, I just give you my spot to organize everything in terms of hosting this event. What do you think?
Yeah, actually, that's a good way to look at mentorship. Just what we were just talking about, experience or knowledge through experience, rather. Sort of, I guess what I'm getting here. This is like I haven't done this very often, so I guess this is a form of mentorship in action. We can see instead of you just telling me what I would do, whatever. Right away, you assign me something to do to grow my skill set and my network, and so I think that can qualify as a pretty good instance of mentorship in action. Yeah, to answer your question.
And this is my point. Sometimes in terms of both sides, just having kind of meeting to talking, or have some kind of conversations about the things, or even participating actively by learning, by doing and the things like that. It's not a chance for mentees to learn, to find their way, to navigate their challenges or the things like that. It's also an opportunity for mentors because, the people who have something to share, first of all, they are enjoying of sharing and helping others to empower and the things like that. And secondly, Conley now helps me as one of the participants and also one of my team members at Bennu Community to do more, which means it's kind of win-win, activity. It's not just, okay, I have something to share with you and you just need to learn from me. It's bullshit. I'm so sorry, but it's a fact. That's why I think the people who are seeking for mentorship, they need to know that this is kind of opportunity they are giving to mentors. It's not just kind of opportunity for the mentees. Hopefully it's clear what I shared.
Yeah, I think that pretty much sums up the mentorship side of things. Yeah, thank you for that example, Ben. Yeah, mentorship can come in a lot of forms, and you just have to be open, ready to take on opportunities, ready to accept help, and I think that's a good way to get involved in any career field. So yeah, as we can see, our speakers here have all built solid careers for themselves, and mentorship has clearly played no small part in that. So while mentorship is very powerful, it often happens within the context of something bigger, which is another one of our themes here tonight: community building. Whether it's a global platform like ADPList or Bennu Community, communities like these give us space to grow our skill sets, grow as people, grow our careers, to also give back based on this. So right now I want to switch the subject and talk a little bit about how being part of a community can help shape our careers, and why community building is so important for our careers. So firstly, how has being part of a community like ADPList or Bennu Community, or any other community, of course, that you've been a part of, helped you grow your careers, your skill sets throughout your careers so far? Anybody?
So I can tell a bit my journey with ADPList. I think the values are quite matching. So that community, that really helped me. I truly believe in democratizing the knowledge and the power of supporting one another. When I joined ADPList, it was 3 years ago. At that time, I was searching for a new job, a second job, actually in Amsterdam. And I was craving a sense of community, some where that I can talk about my challenges or my learnings, because during the job hunt, you are like in a crazy pace that you learn so much things, and that's amazing. And so I also wanted to talk to all those things with other people. And since then, it has become so much more than just this resource that I can share all those things. But it is a global space for me, for meaningful conversations, mentorship that helps me to learn more, give more. And also, that also means that then I can have the sense of mutual growth. That is quite fulfilling. And for me in life, like connection, growth, and unity, all these three are quite important. They are the core in every field for me. And I have noticed that actually being in the like-minded people group and sharing all these things together is helping immensely to everyone. And also at ADPList, as mentor or mentee, you have more or less a common purpose. And once you also have that common purpose and good intentions and put effort, then amazing things happens. So I'm quite happy and proud to be part of a platform that champions those values. And every talk to a mentor or a mentee really inspire me every day.
Yeah, that's good to hear. Thank you for that. So, and yeah, ADPList, very, very good example of a community that helps individuals grow. It would seem. Yeah. So on that subject, actually, I have another question specifically for Bala this time. So you have built a career across different countries, different industries. How have those transitions shaped your, actually, it's not just for Bala, it's for anybody. How have those transitions shaped your views on the role of community in building resilience?
That's a good question. So, I think like I said, I keep going back to how it's very structural and very rigid back home. And when I moved here and I was also exploring a new career path. I used to be in tech writing, and then I transitioned into UX writing. And I wouldn't call that a mentorship. It was basically a job interview, but the two people who were interviewing me, they motivated me, saying, "You are the right person for this job." And that kind of put me on this path that I've been on. And everything that came after, everything that I've gotten out of that job and beyond, I've only tried. It's made me look at it from a very grateful perspective. So then I realized, okay, I'm getting so much, and I know that there are other people who are probably going through this, and they're probably going through this by themselves. And to Derya's point, that's one of the fundamental things about community is that, you know, everybody wants. People usually want validation for what they're thinking and feeling. They don't want to feel alone. And when you look around, when you talk to people who have been there, they can help you with that. And they can also help you get past whatever you're going through with slightly less hassle than what they went through, because they know how to navigate it. So that's how I view all my mentorship efforts, is like paving the path for somebody else who's coming after me, or not coming after me, but coming behind me, just to make it that much easier for them. So yeah, so all my experiences have informed some aspect of my mentorship. Like, for example, I remember this one manager I had way back when I was working in India, and she is somebody I kind of idolize to this day, and I've not even been in touch with her for like over a decade now. But she's somebody whom I still idolize, because there's like specific things that she did that just made me want to be her. You know, like she was very open and very empathetic, and she never talked down to you. She always approached your question from your perspective and never from hers. She was she was the first person I heard in India tell me, I obviously you need permission to take a day off from your manager right back home. So I went and asked her, and she basically told me, it's your time off. You're the boss. Go deal with it. So just a simple thing. Like, she gave me ownership of my time, and she respected my time and my, you know, my personal space. And little things like this made me want to kind of emulate her in whatever I did. So I think it's so, yeah, to summarize, I think it's a collection of probably extremely random learnings from very different people in very different circumstances that all come together to inform your current state of being and guide you to your future state of being.
Yeah, that's a really interesting way to put it. I think that's very useful. That also leads us into another question I have for anybody about community building, personal growth as well. Obviously, growth can happen with the community, with mentors, as we've seen, but also growing on your own is an important thing. I have a question for Derya specifically. Your journey from development to user experience, and also your role as a mentor at ADPList, highlight a stable, steady commitment to growth and learning within like the design space as a whole. What advice would you give to people who want to keep developing their skills in a fast-changing field such as UX, user experience, based on your own personal growth, mentorship, community building? What advice would you give?
I think the growth is still on the way. So I still feel there are much things that I have to grow, I want to grow. So it is not an advice to everyone else, but also including me. I try to remind myself that actually, so you need to clear your way. You need to know what you want. It also means that you need to know who you are and what you want to do. And it is maybe like in the basic foundation of being human, of course. And from there, actually, if you know which path is interesting or worth to try, then keep trying. At the end, we own this ship, and we will have fun on all this journey. And this ship can go anywhere, and we are all autonomy. We are free to go anywhere. And don't worry, there will be some waves, and yeah, sometimes wind will blow you back, and you will maybe lose the wheel that keeps you in the track. So everything can happen. I know it's challenging sometimes to remember that everything will pass and will be all right, and keep searching more, look for the horizon, and look for what is about its next, you know? And of course, during this journey, you have to keep yourself fresh. You have to learn a lot, and it means that you will get yourself influenced by books, or some mentors, some writers, some scientists, whoever it might be. And as Bala mentioned, that is like really collection of things that results you and keep you on the track. Yeah, keep trying, and stay with the growth mindset. Then if you need help, ask. If you don't get help when you ask, that's okay. Keep to your own place again, and you will find the answer from your within. Yeah, I think that is the advice that I try to remind to myself and everyone.
Yeah, thank you for that. That's very solid advice. Yeah, so what's something that anyone, well, let me rephrase. So in the area of growth, we know that both personal growth as well as community-based growth is important. Can anyone on the panel give a specific instance where, because I want to go back to the topic of community really quick, where your community helped you achieve something concrete, like finding a job or getting involved in a field that you enjoyed, something like that. I think it would be nice for the audience to hear about someone's concrete, like a concrete, tangible, quantifiable experience. Yeah, Ben, yes.
Also,
No, Ben, you're muted.
Okay, now it works.
Yes.
As Bala already mentioned, the point is when we are talking about mentorship and community building, it's kind of culture, which means we have no idea what's the exact plan, because if we know that, then we are just trying to follow the plan and do something, not, for example, seeking for mentorship or even focusing on community building or things like that. I mean, mentorship and community building are all about how we cope with uncertainty, ambiguity, about what we don't know, and about what we know that we don't know. And then we are trying to figure out, okay, what's the next step? That's why when we are focusing on community building and mentorship, we need to change our mindsets. I mean, instead of focusing on, for example, seeking the answer, the art of asking questions are much more important, which means, okay, if, for example, I'm approaching Bala and Derya as my mentors, it doesn't important how and what they answer or help me to find answers. It's important how I ask questions and what is my, what is the framing of my problem or the challenges I'm coping with, which means in these kind of mindsets, maybe following, for example, effectuation mindsets, people can later on search a little bit more and find more information about that. It could be helpful, which means you are trying to, in that mindset and in that paradigm, you are trying to start with what you have now, and then just try to step by step following the rolling wave planning. This is exactly what we are promoting at Futures Literacy, which means, you know, you are trying to see weak signals, find some people to help you to figure it out in a better way, and then try to build kind of support system for yourself. As I mentioned, I mean, 20 months ago, when I moved to the Netherlands, I had no idea what's happening around me. I had no idea at that time that after 20 months, Majid and I joined with each other and established EleWave, applying for example, a program somewhere else and the things like that. Or I had no idea that by chance, I can join Iron Hack events, give a talk about futures literacy, met, I mean, Bala and Derya. And then after my graduation, because I studied here at Master, International Communication, I can work with Conley and then got, for example, I don't know, a grant from Hanze University, and something happened like this. And those people who are here, you know, 20 months ago, I had no idea about that. This is exactly the point. We had no idea what future holds for us. That's why we need to build our network, our community, our support system. And then it's all about, I mean, community building and mentorship, all of them are about collective intelligence, which means, you know, I'm trying to connect with Bala. It could be one of my teammates, could be my mentor, he could be, I don't know, maybe my friend, whatever. I mean, I don't want to name it exactly mentor. And then in terms of that kind of, I mean, the dynamics of conversation between us, I can see some new opportunities. It could be, I don't know, the concept could be mentorship, but I don't want just stress on it. And that's why what I want to say, as Bala said, the culture, the mindset is much more important than, okay, what's its name?
Yeah. So you're talking a lot about the like what's important in a community, more so than the rigidity of like mentorship and stuff. Following a certain path is not going to work out for most people. Following a straight path. The important thing is having a community, building a community from the ground up, or being a part of a community, so that if you move to a new place, you have people to talk to about stuff. So on that subject, Ben, you're stressing the importance of networking, of community building. What makes a community stick that can help people achieve their goals in the ways that you've been talking about?
I think clear purpose and also kind of safe, inclusive space, as well as maybe regular connection and real conversation. You know, networking and community building is not about connecting with others. It's more about how you can connect and the way you are trying to connect with people. I mean, human-centered approach, what I want to talk. Because most of the time, people think, okay, I'm sending requests on LinkedIn, I don't know, sharing my, I do lots of things just to, you know, increase the quantity of my connections. But of course, it's really important. We call this weak tie, but at the same time, you know, because you need to build trust, it takes time. I mean, first, you need to build that kind of trust that can help you to connect deeply with others and, you know, bring kind of safety and inclusivity in your connections, even if you are communicating with your mentor. And then something happens. But if you just want to, okay, approach, for example, Derya, hi Derya, may I ask you to help me, blah, 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 you know, without, what I want to talk, first you need to give something, and then it's easy to ask them because you already show that you are interested or you are open for sharing your resource and build kind of new opportunities by sharing your resources to do more with less. Hopefully it's clear.
Yeah, creating a two-way dialogue.
Yes.
Yeah, Derya and Bala, would you agree that this is a good way of networking, building community in your experience? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I just want to highlight one thing that Ben said. It's one thing to connect with people, and I always, whenever I talk about networking, I always say network with purpose, like connect meaningfully, create meaningful connections. So there has to be something, some give and take between the two parties that are connecting. It cannot be just give or just take. So yeah.
Yeah.
And this purpose can be quite high level as well. And then you don't know, sometimes you just be there as the same event because you are interested in the same topic. Then you start conversating about your life and then how this topic is affecting you. You make it personal, and then actually connection continues. This is also I wanted to highlight.
Yeah, thank you. It's very interesting. So yeah, networking is an art form, I would say, and community building, all of that is certainly something that can be difficult and intimidating at first, but I think, as we've seen, can also be very valuable for developing your own career as well as giving back and feeling like you are making a difference. So one final topic that I would like to ask a couple questions on pertains to the future. So we've covered the importance of mentorship, community building, networking, personal growth within these things, developing one's career. So to wrap things up in this final section, I want to take a look forward. So as we know, the job market, especially in areas like UX, is always evolving constantly, and our skills, values, mindsets also have to change and evolve with the industry that we're in. So I want to hear some thoughts on what's next and what advice you might give to people starting out in a fast changing field. So on that note, Ben, I do have one specific question for you, because futures literacy obviously is your passion, is something that you're very knowledgeable about. Your core reason for creating Bennu Community. For those unfamiliar with the concept of futures literacy, would you mind breaking that down just a little bit so that we can understand how it is in practice?
Yeah, it's simple and easy to share something more, but maybe it's a good idea not to share something more, because maybe guys, we also started to publish Bennu Community podcast, and over there I interviewed with some experts, including, for example, Alba, Ramila. Today I had another conversation with Stefan in Germany, and all of them are experts in futures literacy. That's why I'm just trying to say or share some simple sentences. That's it, simple and easy. Later on, you can listen to those episodes. But in a nutshell, maybe I can mention, when we are talking about futures literacy, it's about imagining different futures to make better choice now. Which means, instead of focusing on our previous experiences or using the past for predicting the future, but just one possible future, we are trying to use our imagination and thinking about alternative futures, because there is not just one future. There are lots of futures, and we have no idea. I mean, futures are not real. They are conceptually in our mind, which means we can take agencies and we can think about alternative futures at the same time, and taking agencies and using that imagination to change or to act in the present. Of course, it's a long story. Maybe later on we share something more. I can share some links later on in the chat. Maybe people can read or watch some content. Also, Majid and I already decided to develop kind of futures literacy course. I mean, one our course. We are sharing the link. I mean, in a Slack, people can, just learn about futures literacy more in our product as well. But generally speaking, when we are talking about futures literacy, we are trying to empower people to act, to do in terms of coping with the current challenges in a better way. We are empowering them. And last time I had a talk at Ironhack, and Bala and also Derya were there. Maybe I have to ask them, how was your experience? Because I assume that at that time, both of you for the first time, learned about futures literacy and the way we are thinking about, for example, future of job. And maybe it's a nice, real example about how futures literacy can shape the way we are thinking about future. So it's your stage. I mean, Derya and Bala, maybe you can share something.
First, again, I would like to thank you for that presentation. It was an amazing, interactive presentation. And in the audience, Ben was asking constantly questions to everyone. And in the beginning, indeed, when you ask about future people to anyone, it's same for me. When you ask Ben first time, you want to come up with a solution based on what you know so far. But you are like, hey, I don't want that answer. Think about another way and another way. And it's easy to think about another way. Let me think about what is happening in the technology trend these days. Oh, AI. Okay, let me tell you something about AI. So I was kind of observing all these patterns, also my thought patterns, and also seeing that patterns happening from the audience. That actually, I think encouraged me to learn a bit more about this future literacy, and it's so much deeper, and it's I think very tied into the creativity as well, and authenticity. Right. And it is an interesting topic to dive into. But I would love to get that sample a little bit, and I'm intrigued by the questions. I would love to learn more. So it is very interesting that you are organizing the courses. I will take a look.
Thank you for your kind words. How about you, Bala? I mean, how was your experience? Because also we had a short talk after that.
Yeah, it was basically ditto to everything that Derya said, and to me, it's still like, so there are some aspects of it that are still beyond my reach, beyond my mind's reach. So I think one of the fundamental things that will help us on this future literacy path is to open up our mind to the possibilities that we do not know that exist, because that's very hard to do, as I've come to realize myself. So I can very much think about my career path in my current role and beyond for the next 50 years. But only, like there is, only with the current information I have, with maybe some information about AI, but nothing beyond that. We don't know what even AI is going to do after 20 years, what it's going to be capable of and whatnot, and there may be even more different technologies and different problems to solve. So I think we have to have like a very creative and very visionary kind of mindset to be able to explore those possibilities and then bring back those learnings to our current state, which I think will definitely require a course or two. So thank you for doing that.
So thank you. Just maybe it's time just to share something with you as well. I mean, all guys, also the participants, because I was lucky last year because Real Miller, we can say the father of futures literacy, is living in France. He came to Groningen, Netherlands, and UNESCO Chair Futures Literacy in the Netherlands, which is located in Groningen at Hanze University. They organized 5-day intensive program about futures literacy. And I was lucky because at that time I was a student at Hanze University because the price was 2K. 2,000 euros. But because of that chance, I mean, being a student at Hanze University at that time, free of charge, I joined that program. And that was my, I mean, started point for engaging in futures literacy. So next month, on May 12th, Real Miller again will come to the Netherlands, to Groningen. And again, there is a 5-day intensive program again happening here. And the point is, this year, for all the students, I mean, at universities, if they are applying, it's free of charge if they will approve it, which means for those who are a student, maybe still there's a chance to join that program, but it's more for the students from the first year of master programs and the things like that. They can approach them and learn more, but it's a nice opportunity because it's free of charge, including the lunch breaks and the things like that. And lots of people are coming here. I mean, Real Miller is coming, also some other experts, and they can join the futures literacy community in the Netherlands as well. Which means, I mean, I was lucky. I joined that program. I learned a lot. It changed me a lot. And maybe it's time for people who are here to try the chance as well. And then let's see what's the next step.
Nice. Yeah.
Sorry, Conley. I just shared a link from my Medium in the chat. It's about my reflection of that experience last year. At the end of that article, also, there are some more links, including a TED Talk from Luz. She's also Futures Chair, a Futures Literacy Chair at Hanze University. It's a TED Talk, some articles, and the things like that. If people want to learn more about futures literacy and the things like that, they can approach and also ask questions directly from me, or just check the links over there.
Yes. Thank you, Ben. So yeah, to wrap this this discussion up, one last thing. In terms of mindsets, soft skills, what's the most important thing someone can have going forward in the early stages of their careers? Do you all think, just as something to leave out on here, one final note?
For me, I think curiosity and being brave and bold sometimes. As I mentioned, trying different things, and if it doesn't work, try another way, and keep you refreshing what you want to do. You don't have to stick in one direction. It is not a linear path. You can go any way, and not even on like 2D, any way indeed. So keep exploring. And I think this applies not only anyone in the beginning of their career, but all times. Things are quite fastly changing. Adaptability is quite important. And that will actually give you more resilience. So all this curiosity and thinking that, okay, you can do things, and if it doesn't work, you can do another time. That will build a lot on the resilience, and the success will come with it. And not only success, but joy, happiness, like the complete being fulfilled about life is going to come with it. And there are times we keep bigger questions that we don't know the answers, like what is going to happen in 5 years and how it's going to be our jobs. It is hard to tell, but if you keep that adaptability and curiosity on your way, you will find it, and it will be a nice journey. And it is all about that. You will be in the place that you need to be there.
Ditto again. The only thing I will add to that is to have an open mind and be curious and humble to learn. And like Derya said, we have to be adaptable and flexible with changing circumstances and changing conditions and changing world. So in the immortal words of the great Bruce Lee, be like water, my friend.
Nice. Ben, any final words on that subject?
Yes, simple and easy. We just need to learn how to enjoy of living in the VUCA/Bunny world. If you are asking what it is, maybe later on we can share more details because it's a long story, but in a nutshell, we are living in a world including a volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world. At the same time, this life is not linear. That's why all the time we have to be ready for, surprising and the things like that. And then we need to think in a different way. And this is exactly the way we are thinking: mentorship, community building, futures literacy, effectuation mindset, and the things like that can help us to navigate in a better way. I shared another link here. It's a channel, a Slack channel of Bennu Community. Later on, we will publish that, free course about futures literacy there, and maybe some other course related to this kind of stuff. If people want, can join via that link to, our Slack, because anyway, we already started to establish something, and also we have Derya and Bala both at our club, because we also have a online club. I shared 3 more links here. The last one is the invitation. Oh, I think. Wait. There are 3 links here, including the Bennu Community website, the podcast, and the last one is the link of invitation for Bennu Community. It's podcast. Just let me check the last one. Yeah. Yeah, it's here. Copy link. Here you can join to the club, and over there we have some experts. You can connect with them as well. As I know, at least Bala and Derya, both of them are there at Bennu Community Club. And also over there, we are trying to share more content, more things related to what we are doing. It's kind of opportunity for people who are interested to engage more at Bennu Community Podcast. And hopefully the things related to our discussion at podcast, Bennu Community Podcast could be helpful. But I don't want to go for details, because at Bennu Community Podcast, we discussed a lot with different people about these kind of concepts, including VUCA and Bunny. That's it.
Nice. Yes. Thank you, Ben. Yeah, definitely check out those links, especially the Bennu Community Club as well. That's a very useful one for me. So yeah, if you 3 are content to leave it on that note, I want to thank you definitely for sharing your stories and insights. I think it's been very valuable, even for me, to hear about what you've had to say. Yeah, there's clearly no single path to success, but things like mentors, peers, communities, these certainly make it a lot easier, and it's important to get involved with them. So yeah, with that, we'll move on to the final part of our event, where I will just open the floor for questions. If anyone just wants to type in a question, raise their hand, feel free, and we will answer them. And also, I might throw in another couple links in the time being to check out.
Yeah, if they want also to, sorry, to just turn on the camera and just share the questions, not just writing in the chat, it's fine.
Yeah, if you feel comfortable doing that, please, that would be very nice. Yes.
Yeah, so I have a question basically regarding, because I'm learning in general is my passion. And first of all, thanks for the talk. It was amazing. And what I wanted to ask is if unlearning basically helped you in the growth in some area for you, because usually you talk about learning, but for me, I want to learn from your experiences in unlearning some stuff that enabled you for future growth.
I think that's part of that being flexible that I talked about, that I mentioned. So, for example, when I transitioned from technical writing to UX writing, it's basically writing, right? You're still writing at the 10th grade level, but then the way you write is very different. So technical authoring is very structured. You have very strict rules to follow in how you create the documentation. And UX writing is completely the opposite. There are some similarities, like you try and keep the language simple, you use few words and all that stuff, but then there's more emotion and there's more context involved in UX writing, and there's practically none in technical writing. So that was something that I had to unlearn from, and I had been doing that for like 10 years at that point. So it was like muscle memory by then. So that took me a while to unlearn and to transition into this way of writing. So again, I think that I would call that a moment of me being flexible, or not a moment, like a few years of me being flexible to make that transition happen and kind of succeed in making a career out of it. I'm not saying successful career, but making that transition successful at least. So
that is very positive. I think what I could also add from the other perspective, sometimes we are also, by the experience, learn things about ourselves or the organizations that maybe not the ideals, or like a little bit less than what we have. So especially if you are transitioning a new career, and I hear that for UX a lot, you are bringing a lot of information, basically what you had already from your previous industry, and maybe you are expecting that to be also part of your journey, but then it is not going to happen, and you have different challenges. So for me personally, I did not shift my career drastically from healthcare to the IT or anything like that. I was always in the same type of places. But then I remember one thing that I had to learn, that I was working with marketing team, the pace with working with them and the output of the design is quite different than what really user wants. So if one has a specific goal on selling a product, the other one is not worried about the product, and it is about usability of the product. And sometimes you want to write the UX content, especially like you want to give an instruction text. And yeah, I find myself quite easy that I want to promote the functionality, but actually it is not exactly what you need to do. So for me, I think unlearning from that switch from that selling point of view to usability was something. So there are more, of course, but it is something that come to my mind.
So may I ask a question? I want to directly ask a question from both of you. What's one piece of bad advice you're, secretly glad you didn't follow so far? Because definitely you have also some mentors in your life and you already received some advice, but you think, oh, I was lucky because I didn't pay attention to that bad advice.
Yeah, there is one for me. I'm still like, you see, like when you ask me, I am like, oh, I am so mad still. Because so what has happened again, university time. So I was learning a lot from design, from psychology to, I don't know, programming. It is a multidisciplinary program. I loved it so much. But I didn't like programming, to be honest. And that was one of the assignments and some of the courses that I had to pass. And that summertime, I was helping one of my teachers, professors, for some translation thing for his article. It's totally not even based on what I am learning, but I wanted to help. And we do the conversation like, hey, I don't like programming, and it is hard for me. And I was thinking that I will receive something reassuring. It's like, hey, you got this, you can do this. But it was the opposite. And he's like, you don't have to be good on programming. The women, it's not so much, they are not so good on that. So don't worry, don't do it. And actually, like, I didn't know how to handle this because I don't think it is true, first of all. And that actually hold me on the field a little bit more. I wanted to learn. It's kind of encouraged me to do more. Yeah, that advice, hey, don't do it, was not a good advice. And I did it over the first 10 years or so. I did front-end development as part of my design responsibilities. I could do it, I mean, but at the end, I don't like it still, by the way. But yeah, that advice did not really hold me there. So I'm happy that I didn't follow that.
That's great. How about you, Bala?
It would probably be you started engineering, you have to be an engineer. That was, I think, something I've heard a lot in my life, way past after switching careers as well. So my dad still sometimes, I mean, not anymore, but up until a few years ago, he still used to ask me, when are you getting a real job? So, but I'm glad that I did not follow that path. I would have been a very sucky engineer, and I'm glad that I realized that, and I was I don't know, brave or reckless or whatever, or a combination of both, to act on it and switch careers. So yeah, that would be my advice. Don't trust anybody who tells you to stick to the path.
Good. So I just wanted to ask Conley, because this is your stage, Conley. I'm so sorry for interrupting you, but the point is, maybe it's a good idea to stop recording and then ask people who are here to turn on the camera, and it could be kind of after party. Then maybe they feel more, relaxed to talk, to share. Because for me, at least, it's a little bit difficult when I know that the session is recording to engage easily. This is my problem. That's why, if you are fine, I just can stop